In December 2014, a hotel employee on the 8th floor stumbled upon a chilling scene: the body of an unidentified woman. Once her identity was confirmed, the details that emerged cast a dark shadow over the case, leaving everyone unsettled. In today's video, we will first delve into the tragic death of Dana Lawskoski, assess the investigations that followed, and discuss the unexpected arrest of the culprits. In our second case, we will explore the events of that fateful night at the hotel, reveal the cunning tactics of the perpetrator, and trace the steps leading to his capture. Brace yourselves. We're stepping into the crime scene now. Dana Lawskoski was born in Los Angeles, USA, on February 23, 1965. She had a joyful childhood and started honing her artistic skills early on, inspired by her father, Bill, who was an artist himself. Their shared love for art created a strong bond between father and daughter, with Dana showing a keen interest in her father's work. As she grew older, Dana took on more responsibilities, such as babysitting whenever she could. She enjoyed looking after children and dreamed of running her own nursery and having kids of her own. In 1989, at the age of 24, Dana met a man named Sam, and they soon decided to get married. The beginning of their relationship was challenging. Dana faced difficulties conceiving and underwent treatments for 4 long years. Despite the hardships, their perseverance paid off when they discovered they were expecting triplets. Despite the challenges of motherhood, Dana found immense joy in it. However, in 2000, after 11 years of marriage, Dana and Sam decided to part ways. Dana moved to a different city with their 3 children. Raising 3 kids as a single parent presented Dana with her greatest challenge yet. But she was determined to succeed and worked hard as a nanny. On August 31, 2001, a couple contacted the Puyallup Police Department, concerned about their nanny, Dana Lawskoski, who hadn't shown up for work and was unreachable by phone, unusual for her. They requested a welfare check. When the officers arrived at Dana's house, they knocked on the door but received no answer and noticed the back door was open. Upon entering, they found Dana lying face down on the couch, as if asleep. On closer inspection, they discovered the grim reality. Blood pools surrounded her mouth, and she wasn't breathing. Sadly, she had passed away. The crime scene investigators meticulously searched the house, which appeared ransacked, resembling a burglary. The severity of Dana's injuries suggested that the perpetrator was quite strong. While the disarray in the house indicated a possible burglary, the violent nature of the crime hinted at a personal motive. Unfortunately, the detectives found little evidence at the scene. Despite exhaustive efforts, no fingerprints or DNA were uncovered. Expanding their investigation, they interviewed people who knew Dana to try to identify the perpetrator. Initial interviews revealed an alarming absence. Dana's ex-husband, Sam, and the children were nowhere to be found. Efforts to contact Sam were in vain, leading to further suspicions. Several days after the tragedy, Sam contacted the detectives, expressing disbelief about the incident, but acknowledging his awareness of the situation. Sam and the children had left for a camping trip a few days earlier with no phone reception, explaining their unavailability. Upon their return, Sam was inundated with notifications about Dana's death and received some hostile messages. He promptly contacted the police. However, his account did not entirely satisfy the detectives, who requested his presence at the station for further questioning. During the interview, Sam was questioned about his relationship with Dana. He explained that after 11 years of marriage, they had decided to part ways following an argument, and Dana chose to move far away. Despite past issues, he claimed they tried their best to co-parent and maintained that there were no problems between them. The detectives asked Sam for his fingerprints and DNA, but he was uncooperative expressing his displeasure at being considered a suspect. When asked about his whereabouts on the night of the murder, he provided a gas station receipt, stating he was preparing for a camping trip with the triplets. Nevertheless, detectives speculated that Sam might not have a solid alibi for the hours Dana was presumed killed, and theorized he could have gone camping after the crime. With no concrete evidence, these were merely assumptions, and the investigation continued. None of Dana's other relatives could provide a significant lead. However, a breakthrough came from the couple Dana nannied for. They reported to the police that a man named Patrick had been harassing Dana, a fact she had confessed to them. Patrick, who had installed cable at Dana's house, became obsessed over time and had been following her for a month before her death. He left flowers and strange poems on her porch, and even wrote in a letter that he had been watching her, mentioning details only someone with access to her house would know. Dana was terrified by these events and had said that if something happened to her, Patrick would be responsible. Following this lead, detectives checked Dana's phone records and confirmed multiple calls from Patrick. They also learned that Patrick drove a white minivan, which neighbors had spotted near Dana's house before the murder. This unsettling information was enough for detectives to issue a search warrant for his house. Upon being detained, Patrick seemed genuinely surprised and agreed to provide his fingerprints and DNA. He told detectives he was working the night of the murder and hung out with some friends afterward. His alibi was verified. Surprisingly, Patrick was not involved in the crime, and the white minivan seen in the area wasn't his. Another suspect, a man named Michael, emerged. Dana had been romantically involved with him. Michael worked in the Vancouver film industry and met Dana while visiting a friend in Canada. Despite the distance, they started dating. Like many long-distance relationships, Dana and Michael faced challenges. Dana had even ended the relationship at one point, but they were trying to reconcile when the murder occurred. Michael, extremely emotional during the interview, vehemently denied any involvement in the murder. He claimed Dana was the love of his life and said he would have been with her if not stopped. He had talked to Dana on the phone that night, sensed something was wrong, and decided to drive to see her. Michael drove to the border, but due to legal issues, he was not allowed to cross. Detectives confirmed that records indeed showed he tried to enter the United States that night, but was denied entry. After eliminating the third suspect, the detectives felt they had hit a dead end. Dana's ex-husband, new boyfriend, and a stalker had all been cleared of suspicion. One detective suggested a shift in focus to less obvious suspects. He proposed examining a memory book that had been displayed at Dana's funeral and remained untouched since. Designed for loved ones to leave messages, this book might hold clues. Upon reviewing the book, a message from Dana's niece Amanda caught their attention. In her entry, Amanda expressed regret for not being a better niece and disappointing Dana. Detectives reached out to Amanda for an interview, sensing underlying guilt. Amanda claimed to know nothing about the incident. However, detectives delved deeper into her background. 17-year-old Amanda was associated with a troubled group known for substance abuse and frequent run-ins with the law. This group, often hanging out in a city park day and night, was colloquially known as the Park Rats. When detectives questioned Amanda about potential suspects, she mentioned a man named Blaine. Amanda suspected him because he had made an unreciprocated romantic advance towards her in the past, possibly harboring resentment towards her aunt. Amanda also recalled seeing Blaine near Dana's house the day after the murder with scratches on his arms. Detectives discovered that Blaine had a lengthy criminal record and focused their attention on him. However, there was a setback. Blaine had already left the state and was now across the country. He refused to return for an interview, prompting authorities to seek his extradition. The investigation then turned towards the Park Rats. 2 members of the group who were in prison agreed to speak with detectives. They revealed that everyone knew Blaine was not the killer and pointed the finger at Emily Lowenborg, Amanda's best friend and a notorious member of the group. Emily, known for her troubled past, drug addiction, and dominant persona within the group, was nicknamed Mutant for her physical strength. She had a signature chokehold move that matched the manner of Dana's death, capturing the authorities' attention. During questioning, Emily displayed defiance and arrogance, accusing those who testified against her of lying. Despite continued questioning, Emily evaded discussing the case. A search of Emily's home uncovered 2 crucial pieces of evidence. The first was a black blouse from Dana's house, worn by Emily at Dana's funeral. The second was a diary containing a list titled 10 Things I Want to Do Before I Die, with kill someone listed as number 9. Another page included a threatening message about Amanda, stating, "I will choke her just like her aunt." These findings were seen as incriminating evidence, leading to Emily Lowenborg being charged with first-degree murder. The authorities were confident they had apprehended the correct suspect, but the motive behind Emily's actions remained unclear. Detectives returned to Amanda, warning her about potential conspiracy charges and giving her a final chance to share the truth. Amanda then revealed the events of that tragic night. Under the influence of drugs, Amanda and Emily went to Dana's house to ask for money. Out of the blue, Emily turned hostile, hurling insults Amanda had never heard before. Dana told them to leave. Overwhelmed by anger, Emily seized Dana, executed a chokehold, and then strangled her with a cloth. In the midst of chaos, Amanda and Emily grabbed whatever money they could find and fled, inadvertently leaving the door open. Amanda's chilling confession, combined with the entries in Emily's diary, helped detectives piece together the puzzle. In exchange for immunity, Amanda agreed to testify against Emily. This turn of events was devastating for Dana's family. The prosecutors faced challenges due to Emily's age, which complicated securing a conviction. Ultimately, Emily Lowenborg accepted a plea deal and received a 6.5-year prison sentence. Shockingly, Dana's beloved niece Amanda, whom she had never suspected, was never charged with the murder. Before we dive into our next story, if you could take a moment to hit that like button, it would mean the world to us. A single click for you is a huge boost of encouragement for us. Ashley Renee Benson was born on April 18, 1990, in Gresham, Oregon. She lived in Montana with her mother until the age of 13, then moved to Portland, Oregon, with her family. In Portland, she started a new chapter with her father, Michael, and stepmother, Jody, which turned out to be a positive change for Ashley. As she entered Reynolds High School, Ashley quickly established a wide circle of friends due to her optimistic nature and reputation as a kind and generous person. At 17, she gave birth to a son with her boyfriend of 2 years, Marlon, greatly impacting her life. They chose to raise their child together. After graduating from high school in 2008, the couple married but faced challenges pursuing higher education due to financial constraints, leading to frequent arguments and ultimately their decision to separate. Ashley was granted primary custody of their son and spent several years striving to be independent. She re-entered the dating scene and met Marcus, eventually moving in with him in Vancouver. However, Ashley's family noticed troubling changes in her behavior after moving in with Marcus, who exhibited controlling tendencies that caused distress for Ashley. In September 2013, Ashley urgently called her father, Michael, alleging that Marcus had assaulted her and locked her in the bathroom. Michael intervened, threatening to involve law enforcement if Marcus did not release Ashley. Amidst the chaos, Ashley managed to escape and reunite with her father, displaying visible injuries from the altercation. Though she briefly left Marcus, she hesitated to definitively end the relationship upon her return, with her family assuring unwavering support during this tumultuous time. Ashley spent Christmas 2014 with her parents and child without incident, mentioning plans with friends for the evening, but withholding specifics. The next morning, Ashley's family was awakened by a call from Marcus. He reported that he had tried to contact Ashley but without success. Her family was not initially worried. They knew Ashley often kept her phone off and advised Marcus to stay calm. However, as hours passed without any news from Ashley, both Marcus and her family grew increasingly concerned. Meanwhile, a call was made to the police reporting a horrifying discovery by a staff member at the DoubleTree Hotel. The employee found a young woman lying motionless behind a door in a stairwell on the 8th floor. She was on the concrete floor, dressed inadequately for the cold weather conditions, and was without her coat, socks, shoes, purse, cell phone, or any form of identification. Marks on the woman's neck indicated strangulation, suggesting a likely homicide. Detectives began their investigation by interviewing hotel staff, none of whom recognized the victim or recalled her entering or exiting. A crucial development occurred when a receptionist disclosed that an unidentified woman had repeatedly called the hotel that morning, asking about a friend. Records showed a room booked under the name Chris Yoon for December 26th, with an early check-in requested and paid for in cash the night before. Additionally, call logs from the room were linked to an escort service ad on Backpage.com using the alias Cunning Veronica. Shortly thereafter, a woman's purse and a photo ID were found behind an ice machine at the hotel. The ID belonged to Ashley Benson. The news of her death deeply affected Ashley's family, and it appeared that their daughter had been leading a double life. Baffled by her presence at the hotel that night, the family directed the police investigation towards Marcus and Marlon. Marcus was a suspect due to his past behavior, while Marlon's involvement remained unclear. Detectives then questioned Chris Yoon at his residence, where he denied any involvement in the murder and claimed not to know Ashley Benson. Chris maintained his innocence, stating he was not near the DoubleTree Hotel on December 26th, as he had spent Christmas with his family in Washington. He provided photographic evidence to support his alibi, which was verified by the police. He explained the uncanceled hotel booking under his name as an oversight and expressed surprise at someone using his credentials to check in. As a last resort, the investigative team asked Chris if he knew someone else with the same first and last name. Initially, Chris said no, but later recalled a person named Tae Bum, who also used the name Chris but had a slightly different spelling of their surname, with a double O. Both resided in the same apartment complex in Bellevue, Washington. The police listened to Chris's account with astonishment. This disclosure redirected the investigation towards the second Chris Yoon, Tae Bum, who was indeed present at the hotel that night. Yoon had provided incorrect personal details at the hotel and had changed his reservation to a double room. At one point, the hotel staff noticed that the surname on his driver's license was spelled differently and stated they could not proceed with the transaction. Yoon argued that it was a typographical error. During their investigation, detectives obtained a warrant for Ashley's cell phone and discovered that it was emitting signals from a nearby base station. They meticulously searched the area and found the phone in a trash bin about a block and a half from the hotel. The phone contained a trail of calls, texts, and emails between Ashley and Chris, including messages related to Ashley's Backpage ad. The messages revealed that Chris had been a regular client of Ashley's for several months, exchanging over 24 messages with her. Over time, Chris developed an obsession with Ashley, urging her to leave her life as an escort behind. He promised her a better life, showering her with thousands of dollars per visit, expensive dinners, and gifts while demanding her exclusivity. Initially, Ashley agreed to quit escorting, but Chris later discovered new ads she had posted. Based on this information, investigators not only identified the person responsible for Ashley's murder, but also uncovered the motive. When they visited Chris's apartment in Washington, they discovered that he had rented it for only a month. Authorities subsequently obtained a warrant for Chris's cell phone, which led them to a different hotel. Police confirmed that Chris had been staying at the second hotel, but he had already left by the time they arrived. Reviewing his call logs, they discovered that he had been contacting other numbers, prompting them to act promptly to prevent another potential murder. Approximately 2 weeks after Ashley's murder, Chris Yoon was apprehended while attempting to flee from yet another hotel. During interrogation, he denied murdering Ashley, but admitted that he had been seeing her for several months and desired a romantic relationship with her. Chris claimed that he was not obsessed and suggested that someone with a criminal predisposition, such as Ashley's husband Marcus, could have been the perpetrator. He alleged that Marcus controlled the relationship and spent the money Ashley earned from her escorting work. Initially, Marcus denied knowledge of Ashley's escorting activities but later changed his statement. Marcus not only knew Chris Yoon, but also confessed to having dropped Ashley off at the hotel on the night she was murdered. However, there was no direct evidence linking Marcus to the murder. Chris's situation contrasted with Marcus. He initially professed his innocence and vowed to challenge the charges against him. Nonetheless, in 2017, he accepted a plea deal proposed by prosecutors and confessed to manslaughter in the first degree, revealing that an argument over payment on the night of the incident escalated into murder. Chris Yoon was ultimately found guilty of Ashley Benson's murder and sentenced to 18 years in prison.